All right, it is time now once again for the Don and Eli Take on the World podcast. My name is eliasmelas, but you can call me Eli for short. And who the heck is this beautiful, lovely lady to my right? She's always sitting here to my right. She is an amazing woman. Who are you?
I'm your girlfriend, Dawn Ledgerwood.
That is absolutely 100,000,000% correct. You're my girlfriend, Dawn Ledgerwood, and my future wife, right?
Well, so you say. Still got to put a ring on it.
Well, when the money comes around, we will do that as soon as possible.
Yes.
That is the truth of the matter.
Well, I'll keep buying lotto tickets.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
I keep saying every time we start the shows each week, when she responds with a very fair answer, I say, fair enough. It is what it is, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's great communication.
Absolutely. Communication is what it's all about, baby. Without communication and a constant flow of communication, you have nothing, right?
It'd be boring. Life would be boring.
Life would be boring. You wouldn't have a relationship. A relationship is based on communication.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And being emotionally open and emotionally aware, right?
Well, yeah, because we're not 20 anymore, and relationships actually mean something besides, intimacy. We actually have an emotional connection.
An emotional bond, right, baby?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I was reading something this morning, and it was giving all the qualities of a Taurus.
Okay.
And I'm a Taurus, and they were spot on as far as my pet peeves, my likes, what I would get along with, what I wouldn't get along with, and it was pretty much on point.
Oh.
I'll let you read that.
Sounds interesting, baby. Sounds very interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. I couldn't believe how on point it was.
Well, you're going to have to show that to me later on. Anyway, folks, welcome to another episode of the Don and Eli Take on the World podcast. This is episode number 17. And the topic of today's show is when things don't go as planned. One more time, episode number 17 of the Don and Eli Take on the World podcast is when things don't go as planned. And that happens quite often, right, baby?
Almost every day. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when the last time is I had a perfect day. Even whether it's just traffic getting in the way, something can always go wrong.
Yeah, you just never know. And here's the thing that most people don't realize that they should is that usually when things don't go your way, it's typically out of your control.
Well, yeah, and I feel there's a reason it doesn't go your way because I feel there's, plan for everything. So if one thing doesn't happen, then you can still strive for it to happen,
Right.
But you never, if it doesn't go your way, you get disappointed. Don't just retreat, you got to keep going.
Absolutely. But sometimes when things don't go your way, it also becomes very frustrating, especially if you've been, waiting for something to come around for a while. Like a surgery. We're going to talk about what happened regarding your surgery here in a few. And sometimes, people will blame you for things that are, out of your control, things that, you didn't notice and stuff like that. You've got to learn to take things with a grain of salt and understand that shit's going to happen and life happens and you have to just take it with a grain of salt and let it go. And if apologies are necessary, give your apology. Own up to, the fact that you may have overreacted. Even if you didn't make a mistake and someone else, says that you did, then say, hey, look, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I made a mistake. I wasn't trying to create any harm or anything, but If you feel I've wronged you, my apologies. I mean, that's being a good human being, right, baby?
Yeah. I was just thinking right now. Do you remember that song from the 90s? I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Chumbawamba.
Yes.
Tub thumping, I think is what it's called.
Yes. That is completely what happens when something doesn't go your way. You get knocked down, but you know what? You got to get up again. Chumbawamba.
Yeah. Chumbawamba, I think it was called Tub Thumper or something like that, if I remember correctly. I get knocked down, but I get up again. Yeah. Well, I've been knocked down so many times, baby.
You're never going to keep you down.
I don't even know how I'm still standing, to be honest with you. I really don't.
Well, because they're never going to keep you down. Listen to the song.
Well, that is true. That is true. So today is going to be a very, very brief 1 hour show. And when we say 1 hour today, we mean it, because there are a lot of things going on regarding my organization that I founded back in 2011. And my organization is what this podcast is based off of, the Genuine Networking Association, or GNA for short. And we're currently dealing with a bunch of legal issues and dealing with a bunch of trolls and haters and detractors and people that have massively harassed us, massively violated our intellectual property, our copyright. And we're dealing with a lot. We're dealing with stalking, restraining order cases that we didn't expect, and copyright cases. And then we're dealing with some additional issues involving many of the players of this one group on YouTube that's conspired with other people to create myself, my girlfriend Dawn, and other people in the organization harm by way of emotional distress, overwhelming us with things to respond to, such as lawsuits that we feel are frivolous and intentionally filed because we decided to stand up for our intellectual property. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm not going to lie, I am literally drained. I am emotionally exhausted and worn out. And a lot of people say, before we get to your story, baby, regarding your surgery, a lot of people say, never let them see you sweat. You ever hear that phrase, never let them see you sweat? It was made, I think it was Preparation H or something. No. That's for hemorrhoids. It was,
it was a deodorant commercial.
Yeah. Which one was it? Never let them see you sweat. Dry idea.
I don't even remember
antiperspirant. They had a commercial back in the 80s. I think it stemmed into the early 90s. That said, never let them see you sweat. Now, that is true. Like, if you're going on a date with a man or a woman and you're sweating and you have those nasty rings of sweat underneath your armpits, right, through your clothing, I mean, that's a big turn on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, unless you're just coming from the gym.
Well, that is true. That would be warranted, baby. That would be absolutely warranted, right?
Well, you got to throw those exceptions in sometimes.
There's an exception to every rule, baby, like we always say, right?
Yes, sir.
But in this case, when I say never let them see you sweat, in the case of the people that have been harassing myself and other people regarding my organization, my business, primarily run on YouTube. When I say never let them see you sweat, I mean never, share with them how exhausting they're making you feel.
Yeah.
But
or how nervous.
Well,
I'm talking about how that commercial.
Yeah.
It went on to dating or being nervous over a job interview or, something like that. And I think their thing was okay, yeah, their antiperspirant or whatever is going to do its power, but it's also going to give you that confidence, so they're not seeing you sweat, then you've got one up on him.
Right. But the reason why I mentioned this is because a lot of people are going to say, hey, Eli, you shouldn't go out there and say these people are wearing you down. They're draining you. And this is where I'm going to make an exception to the rule, because in some cases, such as what we do out here on this podcast and also through our YouTube channels, GNA, Genuine Personal Development, the main channel, and GNA2, Genuine Live Personal Development, the live streaming channel, we teach personal development, self-help, self-improvement, and I use these situations for example purposes to share with people that, yeah, people are doing this out there on YouTube and the internet and in the real world. And it does cause you extreme emotional distress. It does wear you out and wear you down emotionally. And that doesn't mean like I am extremely worn down and I am tired, but I'm fighting through that because I'm fighting for what I know I'm right about. And I'm dealing with people that have been just playing the system and writing lines and skating lines and just messing with the law, weaponizing, the court system and police and emergency 911 resources to use as their, content on YouTube, their, drama, conflict creating type of content that, feeds their audience to keep coming back and donating to them. So I'm basically standing up for, not only myself, but other people that may be going through this. We're teaching the lesson.
Yes.
By sharing our story. If it wasn't for that, I'd be keeping my fucking mouth shut. But how can you teach a lesson if you keep your mouth shut?
Yeah, if we just sit here and read stories off of Reddit, I mean, we're not actually giving you our own life experiences, which is completely opposite of what we want to do here.
But we do share our thoughts, even on the Reddit postings, to be fair. I didn't mean to cut you off, but to be fair, we add our own spin on that. That's why it's fair use. The bottom line is we read what these people are saying and we share our thoughts about what they're saying, which is basically sharing our own experiences based on what they're putting out. But go ahead.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's...
But you're saying beyond that, we don't need to have a Reddit posting or any other supporting stuff on the screen to share a story, right?
Well, yeah, that's what the GNA started for was, it was to help personal development.
Right.
And then so when you get knocked down, you got to have that person to pick you up again sometimes. And that's what the GNA is here for. So we want to give you our own personal experiences to show the ways that we were able to get back up and persevere through a hiccup in our life.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there, baby. You are absolutely right. So let's do this. Let's first talk about the surgery that you were supposed to have this past Thursday, July 10th, 2025. We're recording this podcast on Sunday, July 13th, 2025. It'll be released throughout the entire podcasting network, including our YouTube channel and, the other networks, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, your very favorite.
iHeartRadio.
And the rest of the unknown, podcast audio only sites. It'll be released throughout the entire podcast network on Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. You're supposed to have surgery.
You're correct.
This past Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
Go ahead. Share the story, baby.
Okay. So everything was going as planned. We went to the surgery center, got checked in. They took me back. Eli left because they said he could leave and they would call him when we were done. And so he came home to do his business, work or take care of the dogs. And then while I was in the room and the nurses are educating me on everything, the doctor stepped in and he said, "I'm sorry." Well, actually, he asked to talk to the nurses first. Then he came back and he goes, I have a critical case I need to operate on right now. So I'm going to have to put your surgery off and we'll get that rescheduled. And it was so frustrating and angering. Like, I just built myself up to going in, not even just to go into the hospital and have a surgery, but for the recovery.
Right.
That's going to be the hardest part. So I was already getting my mind set, getting things ready in the house, whatever. And then to go down there and be like, okay, we're going to do it in 2 weeks. I'm just like, oh, all this preparation, all the mind games I've had, everything. I'm right there. And it's like, you hit a wall and you can't get through it.
Now, both Don and I understand that sometimes an emergency happens, like in this case, and they have to reschedule. We understand that, but it's still very frustrating. Let me explain to you why. Because my lady here has been dealing with a tremendous amount of pain. She's been on pain medication, and that helps to a certain extent, the Norco. Okay. And it is not only affecting her physically, but it's affecting her emotionally, psychologically. Pain can affect you in many ways.
Yeah.
The amount of discomfort it has caused you, and the amount of time that you had to already wait, going through the whole process, having to see your primary care physician, having to get cortisone shots. This was like a several month process to get to the day of surgery. And then something unexpected comes up. I drove Dawn to the surgery center, which was 35 minutes away from home without traffic. Okay. I drove there. I dropped her off. I came home and I had other things to deal with. Now, my woman's first priority. She will always be first priority, but I'm dealing with these legal cases, and, it takes a lot of time to fill out paperwork, and there are deadlines. The thing is, there are deadlines. And so, something like this affected me tremendously. Now, again, my woman is the number one priority. I just sat down at my office here in the studio room. The studio room here where we do the videos and the podcast, it also dubs as my office. We have another table that we bring up front here when we do videos together. Then I move it up the side. I have a regular desk in the front there. Okay. I just sat down to, continue working on a case that's, very time sensitive. I get a phone call from Don telling me to come pick her up. And I was livid.
Oh, boy, he was pissed.
I wasn't mad at her. I was mad that they canceled her surgery. I was frustrated because, number one, first and foremost and most important, I wanted her pain to be taken away. Number two, I was going to use the 4 or 5 hours I had, between Dawn being in surgery and she was, going to be released. It was an outpatient surgery, right? I was going to use that time to work on a critical case. I dropped everything and went back to pick her up. Then, we're not going to get further into it, but we had some other things to do that came up unexpectedly, and we're not going to get into that aspect. But I overreacted. And sometimes people are going to overreact because they're overwhelmed. And what I'm here to try to help everyone process as best as possible, because any normal human being like myself and Don, we're going to have our moments when we're overwhelmed beyond our control. Sometimes people do things that overwhelm you. It basically catches up to you, and then you have to vent, which is normal. I vented. But I stopped and I went to pick up my lady and we went on with our day. And we still did everything that we had to do. Now, has it backed me up a little bit? Did it force me to stay up later to get things done? What has it cost me? It's not her fault. But between that and some other stuff I've had to deal with legally in unexpected ways that other people on YouTube in this one crazy community that's been harassing me for years, it basically overwhelmed me to the point of where I had to lose sleep to get what needed to get done. To get done what needed to get done. That's what I'm trying to say. I feel the best way to handle these situations is to use a phrase that I always use. It is what it is.
Oh, it is.
It is what it is. What more can you say than it is what it is, baby?
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
You've told me that some friends of yours have never heard of that phrase.
Well, I have one friend who had heard of it, but he did not understand what it meant.
He didn't understand the meaning of it is what it is. What it means is that sometimes shit happens that's out of your control.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Complain? And then
it wears you nowhere.
And then it wears you down more emotionally, which wears you down more physically to not get done what you need to get done, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
Don was watching the Giants game today, the day we're recording this. And ironically, the game today was on the Roku Sports channel. And we have a Roku in the bedroom, but in the living room, we use our Samsung TV. They have an operating system called Samsung Tizen. And we didn't have the Roku channel on there. And I went and I found that I was able to download it to the regular TV.
Yeah. And now I was able to watch it.
And she was able to watch the
this.
game. And I think now she's looking at the score.
And yes, I'm happy right now.
Okay, so the Giants must be winning. Okay.
They're not winning. They tied the game.
They tied the game. Well, that's better than losing. Right,
Top
baby?
of the 10th, they did it in the bottom of the 9th.
Wow. So they're in extra innings now.
Yeah.
Wow, Roku's getting a great game today.
Right.
Right. But anyway, so it is what it is. Right? And that is something that I'm thinking we start as a campaign here at the GNA. We should start the It Is What It Is campaign.
Yeah.
Because that's how life goes. There are always going to be unexpected events happening in your life. And those events are not going to be things that you instigate, but people instigate onto you. You can't control what other people do. All you can control is what you do, how you show up, how you behave, how you react or don't react. Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's exactly it. When things don't go the way you've planned, you are going to be, emotional about that. You are going to maybe fly off the handle. But the important thing is to step back, to listen, and then react. And the only way you could really listen is you calm down.
Right.
So you stop, you listen, you react. It's the best way to handle somebody who's having a crisis.
And it's absolutely even more important. And I say this respectfully. You have struggled with your mental health at times, right?
Oh, God, yeah, everybody knows that.
Okay, I'm treading carefully because I don't want to upset my own woman, but this is a good example. Whether I'm right to react or not, okay, what I need to take into consideration is my lady's mental health. How does me overreacting, even rightfully overreacting, affect my lady's mental health? Mm-hmm. Tremendously. Me overreacting affected her mental health. I didn't do it on purpose. I was mad because I wanted the doctor to do the surgery and fix my lady's arm and make her feel better.
Yeah.
But my ladies are going to think, sometimes the ladies are going to think you're mad at them. And I didn't do anything wrong. No, you didn't do anything wrong. But even the best of us good men, when we're trying to take care of our family and the people we care for, and something happens like this, we want to step in and fix the issue immediately. And when even the best of us men do this with the right intentions, and we know there's nothing we can do to change the situation immediately, that's what pisses us off. That's what hurts us. And then we overreact at times. It's normal. But even though it's normal to a certain extent, I'm here to say we got to learn to handle these situations better in the future. Go ahead.
Yeah. When I called my mom that day, I was very frustrated, very angry that I wasn't going to have the surgery, frustrated with Eli's reaction. I was embarrassed. I just angry and emotional. And I called my mom and I let her know what happened. And she said to me, she goes, you know what, sweetheart? There's a reason why everything happens. And maybe today it wasn't your day to have surgery.
She's right.
You know? And so, and you know what I'm thinking is maybe the gods up there knew how overwhelmed Eli was and just chose for me to have my surgery after your court date, you know?
Well, maybe the gods just like to keep on challenging Eli and seeing how strong his testicular fortitude is. Let's just call it that way, right?
Well, you're Greek, so you got those very powerful Greek gods up there.
Yeah. But this whole thing, it all boils down to emotional distress and not letting yourself or allowing others to put you in a place of such extreme emotional distress to the point of where you can't function to take care of not only yourself, because before you can take care of other people, you have to take care of yourself, but more importantly, taking care of the people that are dependent on you, like your family, like Dawn, like my mother, my brother, right? And that's the one thing that really bugs me more than anything is, you know, especially with this group of people on YouTube that have filed a bunch of frivolous lawsuits on me, and have trolled me into real life, have abused the court system and the court process to troll me. They've, abused the system of what a process server does. There's a lot more regarding this, and sometime down the road, we'll do a show and explain what's going on more so with these cases. Now's not the right time for that.
Sorry.
Is that your clavicle?
That was the other side. But
are you okay?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, sometimes when you kind of turn your neck, you get that little pinch.
That's right.
And it just kind of...
Pinched nerve.
It's like a little, electric bolt.
I'm an expert on dealing with pinched nerves, baby. That's what causes sciatica.
Yes.
A pinched nerve.
Well, I've got several of those in my neck.
Yeah, me too. We'll get it fixed one of these days. But emotional distress is the main thing that people are going to try to, make you feel when they're jealous of you, or, they see you creating something great, and, they wish they could create something as great like we're creating here at the GNA, and because they can't do it, the next best thing they feel they can do is do things that create you emotional distress. So that way it wears you down to the point of where you don't move forward and continue, doing what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And let me ask you this. We're not mentioning names today. We're just speaking in general. But this group of people that has trolled us, that has abused the court system, filing frivolous lawsuits, making false 911 wellness check calls to our house, etc. Do you feel that these people have caused an extreme amount of emotional distress? And, what is the solution, in your opinion, regarding these people or anyone that would do this in general? Because emotional distress, if you let it get to you, it can ruin you.
Yes.
What is the solution in your eyes?
Well, I don't know what the solution is. It seems that every time we make a step forward, we have a roadblock. We don't necessarily take a step back, but we just have to stop. And then something else happens. We have to take care of that. And it's like these people just want to keep him so buried in paperwork. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I don't know if and when they'll ever stop.
They'll stop eventually because, go ahead.
I feel if it goes in our direction, they will have to stop against us. But I believe that these people are so sick that they will just find somebody else to torture in their lives. That's what these people do. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened with them. Something in the water. That's what I said. Something in the water.
Well, I mean, and again, I'm not trying to be mean, but you look at these people physically, they're unattractive. They're extremely obese. And I'm not trying to be overly critical, but their lifestyle, where they live, how they live, right, isn't the greatest, and they probably wish it could be better. And I can understand that, right? Everyone wants to have the best life possible and live in a nice, safe area, live in a nice house. But unfortunately, some people aren't as fortunate. That doesn't give them the right to attack other people that are fortunate to have a good lifestyle like you and I have. And we say that humbly and respectfully, right? It doesn't give them the right to do that, right?
Well, I'm very humbled by what I have in my life right now.
Me too.
Me too. I've seen both sides of the rope. I came up in a house that's middle class. They didn't act like they had a lot of money, and they didn't act like they didn't have a lot of money. So, and then in my marriage, everything is going great. Big, beautiful house. After that, smaller places, apartments, and which were okay, but they were not quite at the standard I wanted to live. And so moving here got me out of Hollister, which was a good place to get out of. And it brought me a new life. It brought me a new reason to move forward, because I saw I still was worth the good life. I didn't have to tackle all those other things anymore.
No, I don't mean to interrupt, but let me get in here for a second before I forget what I wanted to say, because that's what you said. You deserve it. I saw that you deserved it, and that's why I wanted to give you this life. The thing is, these people are not behaving the proper ways where anyone would want to come in and say, hey, you know what? You're such a wonderful person. I'd love to get to know you. And, they get into a relationship, and then boom, they get a better life because they meet someone that can provide them a better life. Yeah. Now, a lot of these people don't realize the way that they're coming off is extremely unattractive. It's extremely unattractive, not just physically, but more importantly, their attitude mentally, emotionally. These people are like dead inside. They're angry and aggravated people constantly, always complaining, about other people. And the truth of the matter is they're just projecting how much their fucking own life sucks instead of trying to turn it around. And having a better attitude is the start to that, because that's when people actually want to be around you and help you better your life. Not when you continuously have a shitty attitude, but go ahead. That's what I wanted to say.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, you're absolutely right there.
Uh-huh.
And what I was saying is that I knew I had a hard time, believing this at first, but I knew that I deserved better. I knew that this was not the life I was going, was not the life that I was supposed to lead.
But I saw that in you. Here's the thing. Let me interrupt. This is a good interruption. Just because you deep within didn't feel you deserved this life, that showed me how humble you are. And I got to know who you really are. And that's why, I wanted to be with you, because I saw deep within your heart and soul the type of person you are, which is what I've always wanted in my life.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So you were always very humble, and you've always been very critical of yourself. And so have I. I've been critical, not of you, of me. I've been so critical of myself.
Yeah.
So how can I hold against you or anyone else being critical about yourself when I've always been critical about myself? And I've learned that if you can't be critical with yourself, you can't better yourself. You have to identify there's a fucking problem before you can fix it, right, baby?
Exactly. I was just going to say those same words. Yeah, you're right. You have to recognize.
Double high five then. Quadruple high five. 3, 4. Amen. Go ahead.
Yeah, you have to recognize those feelings, and instead of projecting, actually make some changes. I was going to say, we've talked about these people in this community, how he just said are unattractive, are, not taking care of themselves.
And they're extremely massive projectors, the most massive projectors of their insecurities I've ever seen in my whole entire life. 6 years straight. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, but what I do is I look at a person and I don't make a judgment until they open their mouth. Once they open their mouth, I could see who they are as a person. You could walk up and there could be a freaking hot ass girl or hot ass guy, and they open their mouth and nothing but air falls out.
Oh yeah, you can say that again. I've encountered many of those in my life, baby.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the same goes with people overweight. It's like sometimes they open their mouth and it replicates the way that they feel about themselves, and so they talk ugly instead of allowing that beauty to flow. Everybody is beautiful if they take care of themselves and love themselves. Part of taking care of yourself is loving yourself. Giving yourself credit, saying, I deserve this. I can make this happen.
Yeah, if you hate yourself, how can you expect someone else to love you? Now, you don't go out there and say, my name is Don Ledgerwood, or my name is eliasmelas. Nice to meet you. I love myself, so you should love me too. You don't say that, but you have to deep within feel that about yourself.
Well,
it's the aura you give off.
Yeah, it's one thing that I've been told is that confidence. You can come off confident, and that's what will attract more people. Mm-hmm. Now, not cocky or arrogant, but confident. That shows, you stand up tall and you believe in yourself. It's just a matter of how you present yourself, and don't show any doubt. Don't, stand up for what you believe in and talk like that. People will listen.
Yeah, having self-confidence is very important, but also being humble and honest and reasonable at the same time is critical, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
It is. But another thing. My beard is long overdue to be shaved. I look like a fucking grizzly bear. Now, I trimmed my beard. I didn't trim. Well, I shaved underneath as best as possible. I fixed it up as best as possible. I was gonna do my my beard this morning before the show. The reason why I didn't do it is because I had to fill out this police report on one of the people from this group. There's a whole bunch of people involved on YouTube that have conspired and they're working together to just make my life miserable, to create as much emotional distress as possible, to try to get me to flip out so I don't do YouTube anymore, so they can just have more content to feed to their audience of Eli haters and get donations, right? And so, like Don said, I've been filing report after report, and this is the process that you have to take. If you're being harassed as much as I've been massively harassed, and wronged illegally, unfortunately, this is what's called due process. Due process is a fucking process. It's a hell of a long process. And it's a hell of a long, draining process, because you have to file all these reports. And thankfully, you can do most of it online nowadays. But even doing it online, you still have to write it out. You have to proofread it. And even if you can write a first draft that's 3 or 4 or 5 paragraphs long, because that's how long it takes to explain the crazy situation of how this all happened through this group of people and how they've all conspired, right? You have to explain to the authorities, this is not just about this person that didn't serve me properly. This is about this person being a known associate of that person and that person. This is what they, and you have to explain that to paint a picture for the authorities. And then pray to God that they take you seriously and they investigate it. And in many cases, they don't investigate this shit.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Which means you got to keep on reporting it over the course of time. And at some point, if the same people keep doing the same things and they've been reported over and over and over again, and you send that particular authority the information, they might say, oh, shit, this has been going on for like 5 years with this guy. He's filed a police report every time with his local police. He's filed police reports in the areas of the people that are violating him. He's done all this. Let's take a look and see what the fuck's going on here. Eventually, it's going to come back to bite these people in the ass. In the meantime, it's a lot of work on me because I'm not paying an attorney to do this. I'm doing the work myself. I'm my own fucking attorney. I can't afford a damn attorney over this stupid shit. But I fight it because it's affecting my right to free enterprise on YouTube. And I believe in myself. But it does cause emotional distress. And I will tell you folks this, there is nothing worse than emotional distress. It basically causes you to have panic attacks and could potentially even cause you to have seizures.
It could, yes.
I firmly believe some of the seizures you had previously involved the emotional distress that this group of people caused us. Now, we're not accusing them of it. We're saying it's a possibility.
It is a possibility.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Because what usually happens is it's an accumulation of things that cause the emotional distress.
Right.
It might not just be what this community is and how it's affecting us. It could also be about a numerous different things, It's
everything compiling, like we said, your surgery, our personal life, my mother, my brother, people on YouTube. There's a lot going on besides just these people, and everything compiles. And those people on YouTube know that, and they prey on our vulnerabilities to create more emotional distress by doing these things, to overwhelm us to the point of where we just end up giving up and flipping the fuck out. And you know what? I'm proud of you. We have not. In the past, they were able to get to us, but we cleaned up our act. And I'm not saying that we were doing anything wrong. You had things that you had to work on for yourself, and you worked on them. Thank you. I worked on things. We got stronger, and now we're here to fight the good fight for the better interests of people. One more?
One more.
Amen. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, don't leave me hanging.
I was in the groove, baby.
I know.
When I start talking and I have a thought,
nobody else is in the room.
No, you are in the room, but I want to get my thought out. No, I acknowledge you're here, and I'm glad that you're here. I always acknowledge. you're giving me shit.
I am.
I acknowledge when people are, you give me shit because you can. Okay. And I'm good with that. See, you're my lady. I'll put up with your shit. I'm not going to put up with the shit of immature, insecure, grown ass 40, 50, 60 plus year old adults on YouTube trying to make me into what they call a lolcow by, telling me that I'm a fraud, which I'm not, telling me that my business is a fraud, which it's not, and, telling me, I'm a criminal, which I'm not. Okay. And just the list goes on and on and on.
And on.
And on.
And on.
And on. But the level of emotional distress, and I say this publicly, the level of emotional distress this one group of people has caused myself and also you and everyone else in my family and other people associated with us in the GNA, Genuine Networking Association organization, has been unlike anything we've ever experienced. But I'm going to speak for myself because it's caused me more emotional distress than anyone. And I'm not going to lie, it affects me. It's affecting me this very moment. It's affected me all week. And it's going to continue to affect me as long as they do it and the law doesn't hold them accountable to not do it. There's nothing wrong with doing reaction videos to people on YouTube, sharing your thoughts within reason, right? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with using your First Amendment rights here in the U.S. to share your freedom of speech. But these people go above and beyond what's protected by the First Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
And then the funny thing is, these people are the biggest fucking hypocrites, which makes it even worse.
Oh, yeah. We're not allowed to say anything about them.
But they can talk about us all they want.
But they can talk about us
so
all
they have
want.
First Amendment rights and we don't.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So apparently, some of the people in this group, allegedly, they have First Amendment rights and they feel that we don't.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're saying that, well, you're harassing me. No, you're harassing us. And you see, this is when we go back to talking about them projecting, everything they accuse us of is what they're doing. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether they realize it or not. And maybe in some cases, they don't realize it. Or maybe they realize it and they just can't stand to lose. Like some of these people make it about a competition.
Oh, yeah.
They make it about a competition. And they don't care about what's right or wrong. They care about whether they win or not. And that's a big problem. Because it started with the millennial generation. And this is where I want to take this show. We're going to wrap it up really soon because we are at 47 minutes and we're going to wrap it up in about 13 minutes. Great show. Okay?
Yeah.
Great short show this week. Okay? The millennial generation started something that you and I have talked about before. I think we talked about it a little bit in some of the streams we did years ago. And we've talked about it offline, but we'll talk about it again here. The participation trophy. You've heard of the participation trophy, right?
Yeah.
And the participation trophy was created during the millennial generation where everyone, whether you win or lose, gets a fucking trophy.
What a waste of money.
What's the principle in that?
I don't know.
The principle there is basically saying we're all fair and equal, right? Okay, I understand that. But some people end up being more talented and capable than others, not because the others are not as capable, because they work harder than the others and smarter, and they put in the time and effort to become super great, to earn those fucking trophies. That when I was growing up, you didn't get a fucking participation trophy. If you didn't finish in first or second or third place, you didn't get shit.
Yeah.
And that
you
made
either win or you lose.
And that made you think about it and say, I've got the rest of the off season to get in better shape, to go to the batting cages, and to become better before the next season so I can try to earn one of those actual trophies, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
No,
Go ahead.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right?
They don't give everybody
participation trophies.
Thank you. In the Olympics.
You want to try that again very slowly? Participation.
Oh, participation.
Trophies. You know what it is? You're so excited to get your words out. It's
I
all right.
know,
Go ahead.
I know. I know, but like I'm saying, they don't just hand those out to everybody in the Olympics.
No, they don't.
No, you got to get gold, silver, bronze. And
But
that's
in grammar school and high school nowadays, you get fucking participation trophies. The millennials started that.
you get them for reading in the classroom.
So they never learn responsibility.
To achieve.
They never learn to earn their fucking trophies. They feel they're entitled to a goddamn trophy because the system has put it out there in that way. I'm sorry.
I know.
This triggers me because I've earned every goddamn thing in my life. Sorry, God. And this is what's happening with some of these people. They're so fucking entitled that they think they're above the law. They think that, oh yeah, they can talk about you via their First Amendment rights, but you can't do the same thing to them. And when you respond to them to defend yourself, then they fucking sue you in court and saying, oh, he's stalking and harassing me. Go fuck yourself. I'm not stalking or harassing anyone, motherfucker.
Yeah. No, you go ahead. You're on a roll, buddy.
It's the truth of the matter. It is. Mm-hmm. And they know they're wrong.
Yeah.
But once again, it becomes more of a competition for them. Whether they know they're right or wrong, they don't care about who's right or wrong. Mm-hmm. Even if they're wrong, they don't care. They care about, does the public perceive them to be a winner in these situations, including the situations with me, or a loser? What these millennials care about is what the public perceives them to be, not who they actually are or what they are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the system of entitlement we've created nowadays, starting in the school system by giving everyone a damn trophy for just showing up. And even if you don't show up, you can say, I was sick that day. You still get a goddamn trophy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. No, I completely agree with you on that.
I'm sorry for
100%.
This triggers me. Go ahead. Sorry, not to you, but do you understand? Do you feel me?
No, I do. And I'm telling you right now, I absolutely agree with where you're coming from. Now, I don't necessarily want to blame the millennials. It did happen in their generation.
It's the school system. It's the government.
That it is, partially. But going down to like Little League status, that's not government. That's just, they're trying to be nice to the kids.
This is in the school system. The participation trophies, yes, they may not be in Little League or
Oh, no, they
AYSO.
are.
Oh, they still do it? Because those are separate organizations, nonprofit organizations outside of the school. They may be happening there. Where this started was in the grammar school system and the high school system. This has started in the grammar school system, and that's where the issue lies. Go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is a lot of things were initiated in that generation, but who initiated them? We did. The parents of when my children were younger and playing on sporting teams, all the parents were my age.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was my generation who voted to have all the kids be,
Okay.
So I'm saying it's not totally the millennials' fault. It has a combination with what our approach, our idea was to how it's been delivered and now
But what
expected.
happened in your generation? Respectfully, I say this respectfully because you did your part. You raised your kids well. You were working. You and your husband, your ex-husband now, you and your husband back then were both working. You could not afford to only have one person work.
No.
Right? So what's going on? You and your husband are both working, and at the same time, you got to appease your kids because you both can't always be around for them. So to keep them happy, you're all saying, let's give these kids a participation trophy to make them feel like they've earned it and that, it keeps them at bay, right? So that way you can keep on, both of you can keep on working to provide for the family. I think where the problem stemmed from, and again, I'm all for women having equal rights and working, but this is what it's cost the kids. It's cost the kids being raised in similar ways as I was raised, where my mother didn't go to work until I was 16 and my brother was 14 and a half. At that point, we're old enough, where we don't need our parents around as much, right? But the bottom line is, when I was growing up, my father was working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, and providing 100% of the income, while my mother was always around taking care of us and raising us. And we didn't have participation trophies. But nowadays, when you have both the mother and the father working full-time jobs, in many cases working opposite shifts, like you and your ex-husband did, how does that affect your family? Tremendously. Correct me if I'm wrong. Please be honest.
It did affect the quote unquote normal life of, wake up, get the kids to school, mom and dad go to work, the kids go to a little daycare afterwards, and then everybody comes home and sits down at 6:00 and has dinner. Mm-hmm. That doesn't ever fucking happen. I'm going to tell you that.
Of course not, because you're both working.
We're both working, or even, like you said, shift work that you interchange. You just pass in the night, they say. That's how it was a lot of the time. What I did was I made sure I had a village of people I could trust to help in those situations, to help make sure that my children were taken care of, right, safe, fed, loved, all of that. So they got everything they needed.
Of course they did.
With me working and not being at home.
That's why you did it.
That's why I did it. That's why I worked night shifts, is because I could be home during the day with the kids to help them. It's so funny. Whenever I say kids, I say it like I say to the dog.
I know, but even though you were there during the day, it's also important for a mother to be there at night, because
Absolutely.
Those kids have night terrors and they want their mommy. And when they have night terrors and mommy is at work, mommy's not there. Now, here's the thing. With all due respect to you, you did what you had to do to provide for your family, because we live in a society where now in most areas, especially here in California, the most expensive place on the planet to live, especially here in the Bay Area and Southern California, LA area and all that, right? Okay, you need to have a dual income, and then you still struggle to survive with a dual fucking income.
A dual income of 6 figures
A
each.
dual income of 6 figures, and you still can't afford to fucking pay it shit out here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, no matter how well right now my daughter and son-in-law are doing, or my son is doing, I fear they will never be able to actually own a home and be ahead of it.
Right.
They're going to be putting the very minimum down, probably having crappy interest rates because market rotates so much. So God knows what it's going to be when they can afford it.
Like I've said before, and here's the thing. I don't mind saying this publicly, because here's the thing. Eventually, my brother and I are going to get our estate. We have my aunt's estate, and we're not talking about that to show off. My brother and I have no kids. You have kids. Listen, we're not going to give the county our homes after my brother and I die. We're going to give them to your kids. They're going to get the shit. Someone has to get it, right?
Somewhere between my family and Sonia. Oh, sorry, but
it's okay. It's not a big deal. First names are not it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. So here's the thing. Okay. It has to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But we're saying your son-in-law and your daughter, and they have a kid. There's no doubt in my mind that they're struggling. There's no doubt in my mind.
I think that they are doing. I think that they're doing well, but they're not comfortably well. I don't think they're living like paycheck to paycheck.
No.
I think they're comfortable right now, but they would have liked to be.
But let me tell you, one disaster and
wipes it out.
Wipes it all out.
One hiccup in that road.
Yeah.
One unexpected turn.
And if you don't have a good family support system to back you up, you could be on the street.
Or, even if you don't have that family, but you have to have a plan for yourself.
You have to have a plan.
Because regardless, you can have the best family in the world and hundreds of them out there, but nobody can help you but yourself.
Now, sweetheart, let me mention this, and then we're going to start wrapping things up after this. We are at 59 minutes. No problem. I've talked about feminism before and how it's affected the family dynamic, right? And I'm not saying this to be to be mean. I'm just sharing how it's affected the family dynamics. Women went out there and they fought for equal rights. They fought to be able to work and do the same things that only once men did, right? While women would stay home, take care of the kids, right? Be the nurturer, the caretaker, they call them housewives. We call them homemakers now. More professional way of saying housewife, right? Okay. So we took a system that was working and we then said, okay, let's go ahead and give women equal rights. I have no problem with women having equal rights. I have no problem with women doing whatever the fuck they want to do, just like men have always been able to do. No problem with that, right? But how has that affected family dynamics? How has that affected our economy? How has that affected us being able to afford not only to pay for things and now requiring a dual income, but then having time left over to spend time as a family all together? That includes the mother, the father, and the kids. Like you said, most dual income families nowadays, the mother and the father are both working. A lot of times they're working opposite shifts. And if they're working the same shift, then who's taking care of the kids during the day? Grandma or their latchkey kids, right? Like, who took care of your daughter growing up? Your mother did.
My mom and then very close personal friends of the family.
Right.
I made the one mistake of finding a daycare for my daughter. She was about 8 months old and I was going back to work. I wasn't working full time. It was just part time. And one day my mom went to go pick her up. And my mom said she didn't recognize my daughter. Her face was puffy and red from crying all day. Her diaper was saturated to the point it was coming onto her clothes.
Oh, that's nasty.
And, my mother said, never again will she come back here. And from that point on, my mother stayed and watched my daughter until we moved to Hollister. And then in Hollister, the kids were older and in elementary school.
Yeah, they could take care of themselves.
Well, not only that, but
no,
that's not the point. I met more mothers.
Right.
And that became my friends. And so these were places.
They helped you.
Well, yeah. And
you
they
helped each other out. Go ahead, sorry.
Do you want to know or do you want to keep?
Oh, no, we're just bantering. Sorry. I didn't mean to. Sorry, my banter interrupts your thought. So you're
because now I don't know what the hell.
You're talking about the mothers in Hollister stepped in.
Yes, and a lot of these mothers had children the same age as like mine.
Right.
So with them going over to, I'm just hypothetically saying, Carol's house, and she's got 2 kids that are like the same ages of mine, then those kids like play together and she'll make dinner for all of them. Mm-hmm. One of us would pick the kids up, or if we had to work late, she would keep them overnight and bring them to school in the morning. But it was a place I could trust that my kids were constantly loved and taken care of,
Right.
But you have to have that special person and it's hard. That also comes with yourself showing who you are,
Right.
If you're a good, confident human being that has empathy, you're humble, everything.
And kind.
Yeah, humble and kind.
Yeah.
Then you'll find that village and you'll raise healthy, happy children. And you're not only benefiting your kids, you're benefiting all of these kids.
Right.
And I think it's really great to have. And yeah, it did affect the family time we had together. What we did was try to correlate our days off. So we would have those days for family days. And then, as the kids got older, definitely they were a little more independent and could take care of themselves after school until one of us got home.
Right.
So, yeah, they were in high school, when that was happening.
Well said. We're going to start wrapping this up in a second. We're going to get your final thoughts in a second, babe. But yeah, I over the last 7 to 8 years that I've been creating content on YouTube, and initially I was connected with a group called MGTOW, which stands for Men Going Their Own Way. They're a group that, put out there that the downside risk of dating or marrying a woman in the modern world, it's too risky. The stove is too hot because of feminism and all that. Now, I disagree with that. I can understand to a certain extent you marrying someone, being the breadwinner, and having half your assets that are accrued while you're married be taken by the other half. I can understand that, but, make better choices, first of all, and don't stay in a marriage just for the kids longer than you've already checked out, because eventually at the end, you're going to legally pay for it. But
more importantly, you're going to hurt those kids.
You're going to hurt those kids. More importantly, on top of being pissed off that people say they call it being divorce raped, right? Well, you're only doing that to yourself. You only have yourself to blame for your actions. But I used to talk a lot about feminism and how it's affected dating and marriage in the modern world, and how women have started to behave with more masculine energy than feminine energy. And then you have a lot of men that are behaving with more feminine energy than masculine energy. The polarity has flipped, right? And you're seeing, that's why we call these guys out on YouTube bitch made men, because those are men that are exuding more feminine energy than masculine energy. But then you see those women that, are very strong, which there's nothing wrong with that, but they're exuding more masculine energy and not as much feminine energy. Feminine energy is sweet, loving, kind, compassionate. Do you notice when you exude more masculine energy, how I react compared to when you exude more feminine energy? Fair question. Do you notice my reaction?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Well, lately,
I love you.
Lately, there's been I can't notice anything because you're constantly in the same mood 24/7.
Well, I've learned to accept, baby, I love you and we're good. But what I'm saying is, when women act with more masculine energy, it typically kind of like throws the guy off.
I think it all depends on what you feel is masculine energy. If you think a woman who will stand up for herself is masculine, I call bullshit.
No, it's not about that. Women standing up for themselves is women standing up for themselves, same as men. When I say masculine energy, it's basically them being more assertive than their man in their relationship. But there's nothing wrong with being equally assertive. I think in a relationship nowadays, everything should be 50-50. There should be, equal communication, equal respect. Both the man and the woman should be equally assertive. They should stand up for themselves when they feel they're wronged by their partner, and blah blah blah. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I also want to put in there before you close us down here.
Okay.
Is that a lot of people will have their opinions based on how they were raised, of how they want to live their life, and they want to have a marriage and children go.
Absolutely.
And the problem a lot of us are having, including yourself, is the advancement in how things are working both with men and women.
You're talking about progression.
Yes. So I said advancement, progression, same meaning. So
same thing. I was just saying what you're talking about, what's referred to as progression in the political world. Advancement is another way of putting it where people will probably more so understand it. You're right. Go ahead. Are you okay?
I don't know what I was saying.
You're talking about the progression that we need to understand, that the world is not the way it used to be.
Yes.
That's where you were heading with it.
Yes. And it's not normal for people like you to have women working in the house while they're children, because you were not raised in that situation.
Right.
There are a lot of people out there that were raised with single moms. That's what they know.
Yeah.
So I don't want to, generalize in saying this generation is more masculine, or it's not as assertive or whatever. I don't like to blanket a generation. I think we have all worked together to fuck up this world.
Oh, I agree.
I think it comes from my parents' generation down to mine, down to my kids, and now down to my grandkids.
Yeah, but sweetheart, to be fair, I don't think most normal, reasonable women, including yourself, you're a normal, reasonable, smart, intelligent woman. And I say this respectfully. I don't even think women realize when they come off with more masculine energy, because that's the culture you've been raised in today, not only by, the media and the government, but by your own family. Is that a fair statement?
It's a fair statement.
Okay.
It's a fair statement.
What you got to say about it before we start wrapping this baby up?
Well, I think I'm going to just leave it there because
we could do a whole other show on this.
Well, yeah, I have a lot to say about this. And so
we can go on for another hour.
Maybe,
we don't have another hour today, right?
Well, maybe we'll continue this and do
Next
another
week.
episode.
Yeah.
Sound good? Woo.
Baby, oh my God. I thought you were going to beat me up a second ago.
Well, I was eluding a little masculine energy, I guess.
Wow. Well, I'm going to give you a high five for being honest about that, baby. Baby, how about you share your final thoughts, and then let's start wrapping this baby up.
Final thoughts, guys. Alrighty. Something hiccups in your way, you don't get your way, or things don't go the way you're feeling. It's not a big deal. Be frustrated, be angry, whatever you got to be. But give yourself some time and just realize it is what it is. And it maybe it wasn't meant to be done that day. Maybe there's another day for you to shine. But just take that and just know every single one of us has those days. And a lot of times it happens every day. Like I said, it could be just as stupid as being in traffic and having that change the whole direction of your day. So,
Does being stuck in traffic make you batshit crazy, baby?
I just get frustrated with stupid people.
Okay.
And stupid drivers. So that's what irritates me.
Yeah.
But that can change the course of your day because you get all agitated.
The dynamic
and angry.
is different, right?
Yeah, you have this energy about you that's negative, and then you bring that to work. And then you're going to have a shitty day at work. You're getting to fight with your boss or a customer or whatever. Then your night is shit, But if you could turn that traffic jam into call your job. I'll be there shortly. Move on.
Back in the days when I was growing up, you used to put on the radio stations and they would play traffic jams. They would call, the jams, jamming on the radio. Your 5 o'clock rush hour traffic jam.
Yeah. That's because it was a traffic jam.
106.1 KMEL or 99.7 FM X100. I remember those radio stations back then. Anyway, anything else, baby, before I share my final thoughts?
Nope.
Before I share my final thoughts, I can't even talk. Jesus, man. Wow.
No, go right ahead.
All right. I'll tell you, folks, when things don't go as planned, you have to learn to accept and understand that it is what it is. That's how life is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think I'm going to start the It Is What It Is campaign here at the GNA.
Yeah.
And I think that the whole purpose is going to be to get people to understand that shit happens. And again, you have the choice of how you want to handle whatever comes your way. Okay? Regardless of how it comes your way. Most of the time, it's going to be from other people that are jealous of you.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Or in some cases, sometimes people do things and, they do things they're ashamed of. And then, people are going to talk about it publicly. That's a part of life. Once you do something in this world, it's permanent.
Mm-hmm.
And the public has a right to talk about it for as long as they want. It's freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And
especially if you put it out there.
Yeah, if you put certain things out there or do certain things. I've done many dumb things on YouTube.
Oh, so dumb.
Because all I was trying to do was defend myself, and I allowed these people to crawl under my skin and create so much emotional distress. They knew what would set me off. And they intentionally inflicted this emotional distress, which I couldn't even identify initially years ago, 6, 7, 8 years ago when I first started doing this full time. Now I understand it. So now I've learned how to combat it. Do I talk about it? Do I call them out? Do I share examples of what people are doing regarding this? Yes. But you got to understand the word, or so not even the word, the phrase, it is what it is. If you do something that you're not proud of and you've shared that publicly on social media, people are going to talk about it. And the only person you have to blame is yourself. The only person I have to blame for doing anything stupid is myself. Accept responsibility for your actions and understand that people are going to talk about it. We've learned that. Okay? But the truth of the matter is, when it comes to emotional distress, you don't have to put up with it. There are things you can do. And here at the GNA, we're going to help you folks. If you're dealing with similar things like we're dealing with people on YouTube that are taking things way too far and causing extreme emotional distress, you do have rights. Now, what you're going to have to do is not going to really cost you any money, but you're going to have to do a lot of writing and a lot of reporting, and it's going to take you a lot of time. A lot of time. And it's going to cause you a lot of emotional distress. Try to not let it get to you. Sometimes, no matter how strong you are, and I'm very strong, things affect me. And right now, I am admitting publicly, even to the group of people that's causing me this, even though people are saying, don't even give him that. Well, no, I'm being honest. I'm teaching a lesson. I don't give a fuck what anyone says or thinks. I'm saying they are causing me a lot of emotional distress.
Which is wrong.
It's wrong.
It's wrong to do.
It's against the law. It is considered harassment to intentionally inflict emotional distress on people solely because of the fact that you have an audience, solely because of the fact that they have an audience of Eli haters that will only watch them primarily when they're doing stupid shit to me or trying to get me to do stupid shit by intentionally inflicting emotional distress. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
You can stand up to it and you can take action on it, but it's going to take work and it's going to take time. And we're here to help you folks with those resources should you need them. So that's that. The It Is What It Is campaign from the GNA is coming soon. Anything else, babe?
No, I think we did a great job again today.
With that being said, baby, thank you. It's time to start wrapping things up. All right. You've been listening to the Don and Eli Take on the World podcast, episode number 17, which was titled When Things Don't Go As Planned. To make everyone aware, baby, there are many ways that they can listen to or even watch this podcast. If you are listening to us on the audio-only podcast networks such as Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, and your very favorite iHeartRadio. I love how she said that. Sounds so beautiful. iHeartRadio. We're also on YouTube Music. We're also on Amazon's Audible. Amazon is huge. Amazon is not just a place where you can, initially it was a place where you can just get books. Now you can get everything. But they also have web hosting. They have Amazon Music, which is great, high quality, HD quality music there to stream while you're driving. And so much more. They're a podcast hosting site, not only through Amazon Music, but through Amazon Audible, which is their book site, their audio book site. Okay? If you're on the audio-only network and you want to watch the video version of this podcast, go to the description wherever you're listening to this audio-only. Click the link. That'll take you to our main channel, GNA, Genuine Personal Development. When you go there, please subscribe, bang the bell, select the notifications so you won't miss anything. And then go to the description and see the link to our secondary live streaming channel, GNA2, Genuine Live Personal Development, where we do daily, if not almost daily, live stream walks where I walk with you. Sometimes Don joins me and we do a topic, but they're mainly informal and we can answer your questions. So make sure you subscribe, bang the bell, and select the notifications over there as well. With that being said, time to go, baby. Have a good one. Take care. And as always, what, baby?
Be good to each
Be good to each other.